Buddy, it's Paul from Paul's Blind Soup for the Soul. I'm doing a video today for a challenge with Patriot in the Dark. You need to go check him out. He's a legally blind individual. I believe he's totally blind. He has a challenge. I think it's due by November 1st to tell a story or make a video of the story of an American hero. And he's doing a giveaway. I'm not sure what he's giving away, but I thought it would be a great idea to do a story about my father. So, my father's name is Roman Chorostecki. He was born May 3rd, 1924, and passed away just regular illnesses, old age. He passed away October 11th, 2016. He is a World War II veteran. He was born and raised in Lopatin. It is now Ukraine. At the time it was Poland, now it's Ukraine. Lopatin is roughly about 60 kilometers southeast, I believe, of Lviv. Now, Lviv is a industrial city, and when it was under communist rule by Russia, it was Lvov. There's a lot of history, hundreds and hundreds of years of history about that city, and wars and fighting and taking territory. It was once Poland, and then it was once Ukraine, then it was once Russia, then Poland again, and currently right now it's Ukraine. At the time when my father grew up on a farm, so they did everything themselves. The only thing they needed money for was for salt, pepper, and kerosene. Everything else they did. They even, made shoes, their own shoes. They shoed the horses. My father learned a lot of things at a young age. And one of those things he learned was back then you didn't have to go to school. You did a lot of farming. And part of their work on the farm, went to the communist rule of Russia. It was kind of controlled there. But he would go to school, and one thing he learned was German. And that saved his life later on, which I will get to shortly. One day, I think he was 17 at the time, and the Russian government was trying to take my grandfather for concentration camps, to work at these camps. And my father sacrificed himself, said, "Look, take me." They said, "You're too young." He goes, "No, I'm young and strong. I know German. I know everything. I'd be more of an asset to you." So he ended up, they agreed, and he ended up working in these camps for the Russian government. And he received some training, but when he was done with doing all those chores, he signed up for the Polish National Army and fought in World War II. He was a commando, which is equivalent to like Green Beret in the United States. So he was a commando. So he was trained. If you were, if crap was hitting the fan and you needed, some crazy soldiers to take care of things, you would send in the elite, and that was the commando, and my father was a commando. He's a freedom fighter. He always fought for freedom, no matter race, color, religion, age, anything. Just, he always fought for freedom. And growing up as a child on the farm with communist rule, you can kind of imagine what it was like. And he always was looking for freedom and going, he wasn't going to stay there. That's for sure. So he had that opportunity. So he joined the army, or yes, the Polish army. And he ended up telling me a couple stories that I will share with you. One time he was on the front lines, and it was at Christmas time, Christmas Eve, and there was a no fire rule for that day. Back then, they kind of engaged in certain rules. There were certain things. It's not like the terrorists today that we have that have no rules. They just do what they want. But there was a ceasefire. No fighting. So, but you're still, at a risk where, an individual might, shoot you. But as far as a battle, it was supposed to be quiet that day. Well, everyone in his platoon wanted to celebrate, so they had American cigarettes, Marlboro, and he knew that the Nazis, the Germans, especially the SS, they love American cigarettes. So he knows that they have schnapps, and they don't have anything to celebrate with schnapps. So my father decided to grab his M16 and go to the front line and make a trade. And his partner said, "You're crazy." And he goes, "Oh, well, we need to celebrate. We might be dead tomorrow, so I'm going to try this." And, he knows German very well, including slang. So he went to the front line, and a German guy goes, "Halt, what are you doing here?" And, right away my dad's like, "Halt, nothing, relax. I'm here for business." And then the guy looked confused, and, my dad was saying this in German, especially doing slang. He said, "I'm here on business. I want to trade cigarettes, American cigarettes, for schnapps." And my dad had like a little leather pouch, and he lifted it up and showed the cigarettes. And he said that German was, his mouth was watering. So they made the trade. And then the guy says, the German says, "You're crazy. I could have shot you right here." And he goes, we're on a ceasefire, right now you have your beliefs, we have our beliefs, and I'm just here for a trade. Tomorrow we can resume trying to kill each other or whatever, but let's make the deal. And the guy did, and they went back to the platoon, and everyone got drunk and had a good time, and the captain comes in and says, "What the heck is this?" And everyone started pointing at my father. "Oh, it's Roman's fault. It's Roman's fault." And then the captain went to my dad and said, "Well, how did you do this?" And he said, "I went to the front line and made a trade." And he goes, "You what?" And he goes, my father says, "Well, do you want a drink or not?" And he goes, "Okay." And they, nothing happened, right? It was a good old time. One other story is that he ended up becoming a POW. And he was captured by the SS, and he was put in jail, and all they gave him was coffee in the morning and water and a slice of bread at night. Well, my father, the coffee was so bitter, my father wanted to save that piece of bread for the morning to dip it in the coffee, just to try to get rid of the bitterness a little bit. And my father was so hungry that he could not sleep. He had to eat that piece of bread. He said it was like he was dreaming about that piece of bread, and he had to have it in order to sleep. So he does not wish starvation on anyone. It's horrible from what he describes. Those are a couple stories there, but what makes him a hero, I think, anybody in the military is